Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders at the nation's capital. I'm bringing you some interesting stories today, including how 51 members of our federal investigation team are prohibited now from entering into any federal building. We've also put in members of Congress under question. Some of them have been apprehended. They're under questioning. But I want you to know that all 51 members that lied to Congress on the January 6th and to the Hunter Biden laptop story are forbidden as agents to enter into any government building. I'm also going to be talking about the Black Hawk DEI hire. This lady that was hired only had 500 hours. She was a personal assistant of Joe Biden's. Her entire Facebook account and everything was scrubbed clean right before she went into this plane. My question is, why are we covering up for a reject that murdered 66 innocent lives? Was the airplane and the aircraft actually taken over by remote control? We do not know what the story is, but with 500 hours, you don't have enough time to be flying in that area. The other guy had 1,000 hours, but at 500 hours, you're looking at basically only having 3.5 months of experience. Again, this is a Facebook media aid for the Joe Biden administration that was not straight, lesbian woman with 500 hours. Did she have a personal vendetta against President Trump to make him look bad? Did she auger in that chopper on purpose as a message to the American community? This needs to be investigated. This is a major story that we're bringing to you here at the American News Network, and we have to protect ourselves. BRICS. President Putin has crumbled to President Donald J. Trump. Our tariffs are working. Mind you, in Canada, you're going to be looking at a 50% tariff. Orange Man Good with Watermelon Balls is rolling in, and I'm going to surprise all of you. Even though Justin Trudeau is talking a whole bunch of stuff and smack acting smart, his brother Kyle Kemper might be joining us here on the Doge Reporter to expose all the crimes of the Canadian government live to the American people. That'll be on Doge Reporter, dogereporter.com with Vin Miller. BRICS is expecting to collapse. Here they had a gold standard. Here they said they weren't going to collapse, but they are. Only holdout is Xi Jinping. He is our enemy. We're finding more and more fentanyl. Where does that come from? But China. China is the common denominator. They need to change their leader. We need to shut the door. Increased tariffs. We found $200 to $300 million worth of illegal goods not tariffed from China, which we immediately seized. This will continue. Also, China is supplying the Houthis with weapons that is hitting Israel, but more importantly, the United States Navy. Navy be on guard. Also, all active duty members are allowed to go back to the force with your rank and your pay reinstated. And the president has a new message for us. We're immediately going out and attacking Somalia. So God bless and Godspeed to our troops as we attack Somalia. We're doing that right now. It is ISIS that we're after. We're going to get them, take them care of. This president will address the Houthis, and I imagine they will be gone in 2 weeks. You either keep that stuff up or you will be diminished. We will let God sort them out. Air Forces reactivated. Back pay reinstated. So I don't look like a jerk because I told everybody to quit. So thank you for making me look good, President Trump. This is a direct attack. We're going to be doing United States airstrikes on Somalia as we blow up ISIS. The drills on Drill Baby Drill will be increasing. We will be going to the state of Alaska. Also, Greenland is on the map. These are things that we're going to be doing. It is now being called the Gulf of America. Therefore, all Gulf of Mexico tariffs are hereby ineffective as of now. In D.C. and Philadelphia, we've had plane wrecks. We had one also, remember, a long time ago, about a month ago in California. What's happening now? Plane fire, United Airlines in Houston, Texas. So we've had 4 airplane catastrophes. What is going on with the situation? Okay, 10% energy tax that we got to do. We're doing an energy tariff on Canada. It starts on February the 4th. And also we have a 25% tariff on all Canadian products. We might have a little lag, but this is the way in which we get our money back. Instead of charging the American people, we're going to charge everybody else. You know, we've been in a hole, America, since 1913, since Woodrow Wilson, since the days in which we created a phony Federal Reserve that gives these people the right to basically counterfeit our money, which they shouldn't have the right to do, period. We have a United States representative at the Federal Reserve that is being investigated at the current moment for a $1 trillion fraud to China. I would like to ask you, shouldn't we just diminish the fraud and the IRS and the Federal Reserve altogether? They're not in the Constitution, they're illegal, and they are stealing our money. In my opinion, if you stole $1 trillion, you need to learn gravity and a rope, period. So Rebecca Loback, who is she? That's this DEI chick, 500 hours. Let me tell you, she's got less flight time than I do, and there's no way that I'd be flying an aircraft in the most busiest area. The question is, why was she allowed? And it's because of the clearance that she got from Jackwagon Joe. I think she did it as a suicide mission personally to make the Trump team look bad. And that's just a thought. It's a cognitive thought. The reason why I think that is because the more you investigate Rebecca Loback, you will see her as a Joe Biden social media person. She said many negative things about President Trump, including how bad he was. I really think that we have been hit by the transsexuals, and that goes from men to women, all of them. We need to get them out of our schools. We need to get them out of our fire departments. I'll remind you that 4 lesbian women were responsible for the Pacific Palisades getting completely burned down to the ground. Now we have a lesbian woman responsible for 66 lives being killed on this airplane. And that's just a fact, and the military is investigating with us right now. As far as DEI people that want to give us a problem, we are looking in. We're moving them out of this town. We're doing it quickly. As far as these rejects that you need to know, here's a full list of the 51 rejects, and we have basically these people that need to be removed from the United States. And I'm going to start with Mike Hayden, former director of the CIA, now an analyst for CNN. We're going to diminish CNN. We're going to put a lot of people in jail and prison where they deserve to be. I will be going around with the director of intelligence later on, and we will be getting our money back. Jim Clapper, former director of national intelligence, your ass is mine. Leon Panetta, former CIA director and defense secretary, your ass is ours too. Any of these people, they're not allowed to go into any federal building or immediately report it so that we can have them arrested immediately. This includes John Brennan, former CIA director, Thomas Finger, National Intelligence Council. These are all criminals against the United States that said that Hunter Biden did not commit a crime, and we damn well know he did. In fact, I'm looking for sheriff out there that can help prosecute, put these people in jail, and if need to, build the stirrups, build the sterns, build the planks, and let me teach them the same way about disobeying the law that President Putin would, and that would be gravity. Thomas Finger, National Intelligence, how dare you? Rick Leggett, former National Security Agency Deputy Director, how dare you? John McLaughlin, former CIA acting director, now teaches at Johns Hopkins University. You ought to fire his ass because all these people are not worth tits on a board. They're communists, they're traitors, they're anti-American. Any university that hires these people need to be fully exposed so that they get fired. They need to get a job somewhere else, and I suggest that country be not America. Michael Morrell, former CIA acting director, go act somewhere else. You're now at George Mason University. Mike Vickers, former defense undersecretary for intelligence, now on board at BAE Systems. Doug Weiss, former director of National Intelligence Agency, now deputy director, and teaches at the University of New Mexico. All of these people are scum, and they should not be educating our kids, period. This DEI stuff, the only thing that's happened is people have died. We have 4 DEI woke firemen, women, and the most dangerous thing are these women that want to act like men. There's a big difference between being gay and having a sexual identity crisis. So the women that want to be men, you're failing in every capacity, from being a firefighter to being chopper pilots to being airline pilots. Cut it out. Your place is to nurture. Same thing with us. We're not nurturing. We're more killers. We got to identify who fits where and when. They want to ask if President Trump is going to hire people with disabilities. I want to ask yourself, if that disability prohibits you from doing your job, that disability is DEI. I'm tired of DEI and disabilities being the reason for innocent people to get murdered. Aren't you? Nick Rausman, former National Counterterrorism Center Director, now Executive Director at Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism, did not respond. Don't come into my federal buildings. Russ Tavers, former National Counterterrorism Center for Director, he says the letter explicitly stated that we didn't know if the emails were genuine, but we have concerns about Russian disinformation. All of these people are straight out liars with Hillary Clinton and with Miss Piggy, and they all need to be in a jail cell because they've been stealing our money, starting wars, and innocent kids have died because of them being basically creating treason against the United States. Andy Littman, former National Terrorism Center Director Deputy, John Mosman, former CIA Chief of Staff, didn't respond. Larry Pfeiffer, former CIA Chief of Staff, now Senior Advisor to Chertoff Group. Chertoff Group, you got a piece of work, I want the world to know it. Jeremy Bash, former CIA Chief of Staff, now analyst for NBC, MSNBC. Jeremy Bash, you suck. Glenn Kirstell, former National Security Agency General Counsel. Don't come in my federal building. You suck, and you obviously like to defend liars. David Priest, former CIA analyst and manager. Thank you for reaching out. He has no comments. So at this point, blackball that guy from America. Pam Persley, former CIA director, deputy director of analysts, did not respond. You're not responding to my president. You don't respond to my president. You're not responding to my country. The answer is get out of my country now. Chris Savos, former CIA senior operations officer, did not respond. You are not invited into any federal building. You are prohibited from entering the property. John Tulios, former CIA senior intelligence officer, did not respond. David Vannell, former CIA senior operations officer, did not respond. Kristen Wood, former CIA senior intelligence officer, non-resident fellow, Harvard, did not respond. Harvard, you're getting known for having a whole bunch of degenerate rejects that are anti-American. Keep it up, Harvard. Now we got Nina Bakos, former CIA analyst and targeting officer, now senior fellow of Foreign Policy Research Institute, did not respond. David Buckley, former CIA Inspector General, criminal, did not respond to my president. Nina Bakos, former CIA analyst for targeting officer, now senior fellow, Foreign Policy Research, did not respond. Patty Brandmeier, former CIA senior intelligence officer, did not respond. Listening, Jonathan Ratcliffe and I will go after each one of you and stick you in a hole if you keep it up. So just keep it up. Drill Baby Drill's got some connections, and if they want these holes, I'm going to stick you in one pretty damn far. James B. Bruce, former CIA senior intelligence officer, did not respond. Okay, David Kerins, former CIA intelligence analysis, did not respond. Janice Cairns didn't respond. Paul Colby, Peter Corsell, Brett Davis, Roger Zone George, former national intelligence officer, did not respond. Stephen Hall did not respond. If you see any of these people in any federal building, report it immediately to me or a federal agent and have these people arrested, apprehended immediately. They will be serving time for not listening and responding to the President of the United States. Doge reporter is here, and if you think we're not out for blood, think again. I got some generals and colonels on my side, and we're here for vengeance. Stephen Hall, your ass is mine. Kent Harrington, you too. Don Hepburn, former national security executive, now president of Bonarangus Solutions, LLC. His position's not changed. He believes the Russians made a huge effort. He is basically a ward of the state, not allowed to come into any federal building. We will be after Don Hepburn too. You're full of it. Timothy D. Colborn, former dean of CIA's Kent School of Intelligence, did not respond. Ron Marks did not respond. Jonah Heisten Mendez, senior former CIA technical operations officer on board of the International Spy Museum. Get her out of our spy museum. She probably works for China. You don't respond to Trump, you're out of my cabinet. You're out of this stuff, period. This is Doge Reporter. We will make the government have accountability. This is the Department of Government Efficiency, and we will stick it to you. If not, this will spread far and wide. I want to make sure that all these people get arrested and they stay out of any federal building of the United States of America. Emily Nakale, former director of CIA Political Islam Strategic Analysis Program, now at the University of New Mexico. Emily Nakale, probably a spy for who knows who, but not for the United States of America. Gerald O'Shea, former CIA, did not respond. Stay out of my buildings. Nick Shapiro, your ass is mine. John Cipher, former CIA senior operations officer. Stephen Slick, Cynthia Strand, Greg Tarbell, David Terry. He's a board chairman. He couldn't be reached. Former National Intelligence Coalition, David Terry. Anti-American. Get these words out. Type these names out. I'll include a list. You can put a list down here. These are anti-American people that need to be arrested, prosecuted, and at least do 5 years in federal prison. We all know that the Hunter Biden laptop scandal was real, and they lied to you, to me, the American people, but they had positions where they were supposed to keep us safe. Greg Teverin, former National Intelligence Council Chair, now Senior Advisor at the Center for Strategic International Studies. He passed, will pass. You now cannot enter into any federal building. Winston Wiley, former CIA Director of Analysis. He couldn't be reached, but if we can't reach you and you don't respond to the president, well, your ass is toast, you're fired. I don't care to hear what you have to say. As far as this story, I want to ask you something. How come if they're gay, how come if they're killing Americans, they want to cover up and hide who they are? You noticed? Really? Chick with 500 hours flying a Black Hawk? That wouldn't be suspicious. Then we're hearing about remote control? That's suspicious. But it's the fact that she was Joe Biden's personal media assistant. What the hell is this chick flying in a Black Hawk for? She's not even required. She's not even authorized. Secondly, she damn sure doesn't have the authority or experience to be flying where she was. Anybody to be flying in those zones needs at least 2,000 to 4,000 hours of experience. As far as the bodies that were in the chopper, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, proved to us, the American people, that they weren't all dead before they took off. This chopper can take off, remote control. I also found that Saudi Arabia is somehow connected in the call signs of leaving. So could Saudi Arabia be in cahoots? Was there a target on board that airplane that they wanted to take out? My top contender was the colonel from the Philippines, who was buying billions of dollars in war aid from the United States of America, and then also our young attorney who was investigating police brutality, police corruption in the states of Tennessee, Texas, and Washington, D.C. I'll remind you that we're doing the same thing here, so it is a dangerous job that I'm doing for you. But my life is on the line because America matters to me more than anything else. I have over 300 friends that are dead and buried from lies from George Bush and Operation Desert Storm. I've been victimized just like you have, and other people too. I want to remind you that if Trump wasn't safe, you're not safe, and our kids aren't safe. And until this cabinet is sworn in, we're not safe. I want you to realize we've had 4 planes go down. And this is during the time of confirmation. Does that smell fishy to you? It smells really fishy to me. And to see Bernie Sanders and all these Democrats get on Robert F. Kennedy, it's just plain unacceptable to me. I hope it's unacceptable to you. Bernie Sanders wanted to talk about the drug companies. Even Pocahontas wanted to say, promise that you don't sue. Good job, RFK, in telling them I can't make that promise. I personally hope all you drug companies and all you boycott people and all you lobbyists quake in your boots, and then we come after you, we expose you, and we throw you all in jail for Article 2, Section 4 bribery for the good Constitution of the United States of America. These woke DEI people are so retarded, folks. They can't get these bodies out of the Potomac, and I'm thinking they're either hiding the 10 people they want to, or they're just all so woke they cannot literally get bodies out of water that's like 10 feet deep. I'm seeing them wade out in half the water. There's even been, of course, the good people of Texas to show up to find the bodies and to make sure that we can get them out. Now, you know why that is? Because if you're from Texas, we'd have everybody out of there in 5 hours tops. These people out here are so woke, they can't even tie their shoes. Kind of reminds me of this story my dad was saying. They were hanging out at the post office together. This guy showed up and he said, I want to get a job at the post office if I can. They said, well, he says, I'm a Purple Heart too. And they're like, well, Jesus Christ, what happened to you? He says, well, let me tell you about the post office job first. Typically we show up around 5 in the morning, and then we get to work around probably around 8 o'clock. He says, but what happened to you in Vietnam? He says, well, I hit a mine and it blew my balls off. He said, Jesus Christ, you can show up at 8 o'clock then. And he said, well, why is that? He said, well, when we show up, we usually just sit around for about 3 hours and scratch our balls and do nothing else anyways. And that's the reason why our government sucks. They sit around here, they sit on their butts, they do nothing. Dusty Johnson, state of South Dakota. I hear he's raised $6 million. I'm the only person from South Dakota to go in there and talk to that lame, and he didn't even have the time, and he goes and closes the door. Does that work for you, South Dakota? Do you want some wimpy little child that's too puss to talk to people? Or do you want somebody that just scares the ever-living crap out of everybody, and that's me? take your pick. I think you need the loud wheel. I think the loud wheel, the honest wheel, gets heard. We need a group of people to go in there and do one thing, America, and that is to get a national vote on term limitations so we can fire every single one of these criminals that have made this place their home. And until we do that, we're not going to have our country back. We got 535 scoundrels. They might have started out good, but it's time to retire. It's time to say thank you for your service, and it's time to retire. Now, Matt Gaetz is retired. That's the only thing he wanted to do. People want to judge him for everything. I'd hang out with him, and all he'd talk about is term limitations, and he did his term, and he retired. I need him and Pam Bondi to help me so we can prosecute. Love to have you on the DOJ enforcement, Department of Government Efficiency, and Trump. Vivek dropped out. He's a dropout. I know about the tie of WEF with Vivek's mother and with Vance's wife's mom. We all do. You're not fooling us. We know they're related. We know the money's WEF. Sure, they wiped your debt clean, but now let's get on with business. And now's the time you need to use people like me. You need to use the good old ever Colonel Sanders KFC. You need to use Colonel Ivan Reichman. You need to use Commodore Rocky Rockford. We've got generals. We got General Flynn. We got everybody on the team that we need to, that has proven to me through blood, sweat, and tears and glory that they give everything that they got for the USA. I've never seen that from Vivek. I like Elon, but he's from South Africa. That's a lot different than a guy like me that would take a bullet and die for my country, don't you think? That's why I'm recommending that you use the DOJ enforcement agents that I've put together, and I've collected a wide array of people. Again, I even have Kyle Kemper, that is Justin Trudeau's brother, ready to help us destroy and expose Canada and all the lies and corruptions that that guy has done. So your tariff tax, we're going to hit you with the tariff. It will be on my birthday. That is my birthday present in two ways, because as that tariff hits Canada, it enforces United States oil, and I'm not for anything. I'm not for nuclear or nothing except for good old natural gas. We can burn that, make electricity, and the way in which we do that, we actually produce millions of cubic feet of oxygen and natural gas at the same time. That's what makes it amazing. We found an anaerobic substrate 10,000 to 15,000 feet below the entire area. And when we give it what it needs, it breathes and it eats the shale. It farts out natural gas and it produces millions of cubic tons of oxygen. So we found the only circle of life between our ecosystem and the ecosystem of the petroleum world. So a lot of what you're hearing is false, and truthfully, we have the answer to just save America. We have the answer to make greenhouse gases go away by producing oxygen and natural gas simultaneously. We need to educate the kids today that global warming is kind of a hoax, and we need to understand that the earth goes through what's systematic ice ages every 13,000 years. The zodiac has a clock of 25,800 years. Every 13,000 years we have a minor one, and then it comes around hardcore every 25,800 years. You might ask how I have this data, and I'll remind you that I look at the last 280 million years of organic data when I drill oil and gas wells, and that there's nobody that has the equipment that we have at Halliburton and Schlumberger to identify earth changes and systematic earth changes that happen like this. So more than anything, we need to be prepared for cataclysmic ice ages that are going to happen soon, and the volcanoes that are going off with them. So that's literally what's going to happen. We're going out of an ice age. As soon as we go out of it completely, we'll go right back into it. It's not chaos. It's almost the world breathing. And it's just the stability of the world. And we live for such a micro fraction of a second to the world that we just don't realize these things. But as we look in, as you see all those gouges in the ocean, we realize that they're cyclical and they happen like clockwork. And I think it's amazing that there was another culture, the ancient Sumerians, the Anunnaki, and somehow they knew about these things. To me, that's amazing. So that's the news of today. 51 federal agents, the laptop liars, None of them are allowed in any federal building. You've all been fired. If you find any of them in any federal building, reach out to me, take a picture of it, and we'll go pick their ass up at home and throw them in the can. How about that? Time has come around for you out there that are afraid or scared. Be very afraid, be very scared. You're next. If you have anything to do that's anti-God or anti-American, be very afraid, because you're going to find me and Colonel Ivan Reichlin, and we're going to come hunt you down. That's not a threat, that's a promise. It's a promise to every dead soldier that has paid the supreme price to defend our beautiful country. Amen. God bless you. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Feel free to share this with anybody that you want to or love. My only job is to protect us and our kids and our families. Amen. Talk to you soon.